The Curse Under the Tree. The Lost Night of Betty and Barney Hill. Chapter 2, The Shadow of the Media and the Star Map. The Ethical Decision of Trauma. In the previous chapter, we brought the 2 lost hours of the Hill couple back to light during their hypnosis sessions. The recording device documented a frightening reality: entities different from human form, a metal craft, needles, and forcibly taken genetic material. Dr. Benjamin Simon knew the evidence in his hands was more than just an ordinary dream. 2 separate minds had recounted the same terrifying moment, completing each other flawlessly. However, Dr. Simon faced a scientific and ethical dilemma. Publishing these tapes would not only shake the scientific community but also subject the Hill couple to the merciless scrutiny of the public eye. Betty and Barney were already living with the danger of being stigmatized as insane by society. Unfortunately, the truth rarely stays silent. Dr. Simon's meticulous work was soon leaked from an unexpected source. And this leak initiated the second, most devastating wave of trauma in the Hills' lives. As the Roswell cover-up ended, the Hills' nightmare was becoming a national sensation. The leak and national sensation. It was the autumn of 1965 as Drive Simon prepared to present his report in scientific circles. The story spiraled out of control. Details of the incident rapidly spread through the colleagues of UFO researcher Walter Webb and finally reached the editor of the Boston Traveler newspaper. The journalist, John G. Fuller, pursued the story relentlessly. Fuller met with the Hill couple and gained access to Dr. Simon's hypnosis tapes. The incident instantly turned into a national phenomenon. In 1966, Fuller published the story in a book titled The Interrupted Journey. This book was the first to bring the concept and term alien abduction into the mainstream American public discourse. The media circus. The Hill couple suddenly found themselves at the center of a media circus. Their phones were constantly ringing. Journalists, curiosity seekers, and mysterious government agents lined up at their door. Barney's colleagues and Betty's co-workers at the Social Services Agency began treating them like freaks. The Air Force's denial. Faced with this immense sensation, the U.S. Air Force immediately intervened through Project Blue Book. The official position of the Air Force was clear: what the Hill couple experienced was a product of optical illusion and shared hysteria. Skeptical comment: the Air Force claimed that the object the Hill couple saw was actually a bright reflection of the planet Jupiter. Dr. Simon's response: Dr. Simon vehemently rejected this explanation. He argued that it was medically impossible for 2 separate minds to simultaneously translate Jupiter's reflection into detailed autopsy memories. However, the pressure created by the media and the continuous denial by the government were pushing the already fragile Barney Hill toward complete collapse. He desperately feared losing his reputation in civil rights advocacy and becoming a figure of ridicule. Barney's silent scream and collapse. The story's leak transformed Betty into an investigator but trapped Barney as a victim. The horrifying memories unearthed by hypnosis led to uncontrollable chaos in Barney's mind. Physical symptoms: Barney's health issues rapidly worsened. His stomach ulcers flared up, his blood pressure remained constantly high, and most notably, panic attacks. At night, that buzzing sound still echoed in his ears. This sound, originating from his own subconscious, was shattering his rationality. Barney felt he was losing control of his own life. He had lost credibility in the Union and respect in his neighborhood. He was now merely the man who saw aliens. The shadow of paranoia. A deep paranoia developed in Barney. He constantly checked the trunk lid when getting into his car. Those round shiny spots were still there. When he went outside, he constantly scanned the sky. He believed every passing car, every ringing phone was a government agent. Estrangement from wife. Barney strongly opposed Betty's desire to share the story with the public. While Betty defended the truth, Barney retreated into the safe haven of denial. This caused a major crisis in their marriage. Barney wanted to erase these memories from his mind, while Betty wanted to record them. Dr. Simon, seeing the severity of Barney's psychological condition, kept him under hypnosis for a prolonged period. Barney's trauma stemmed not only from the alien experience but also from the government and society's denial of him. He was a victim of a society that betrayed the truth. The star map, science's inescapable intersection. While Barney Hill's suffering increased, a detail leaking from Betty's subconscious elevated the story's credibility to a cosmic level: the star map. In the map Betty drew under hypnosis, she showed 12 central stars. 5 of these were connected by thick lines, which she called trade routes. 2 stars had one-way lines leading out. According to Betty, this represented the home system the beings originated from. Marjorie Fish steps in. Approximately 5 years after the incident, in 1969, Marjorie Fish, an elementary school teacher and amateur astronomer from Ohio, became interested in the Hill case. Upon seeing Betty's drawing, Fish decided to investigate, with a passion beyond her amateur status, whether this could be a real space map. At the time, data on stars near the solar system was limited. Fish worked for days. She used catalogs published by astronomer Dr. Carlos Ossis and up-to-date data from the American Astronomical Society. The big discovery: Fish calculated the angular distances and positions of the stars on Betty's map. And finally, she found a perfect match. The map depicted the Zeta Reticuli system. Zeta Reticuli, the 2 stars representing the home system in Betty's map, were exactly Zeta Reticuli 1 and Zeta Reticuli 2. These stars were newly discovered at the time, and it was impossible for the Hill couple to have accessed information about them from television or the press. Route confirmation: the other stars indicated as trade routes on the map perfectly matched known neighboring star systems radiating from Zeta Reticuli. This discovery catapulted the Hill case to the pinnacle of credibility among UFO incidents. We now had not just the story of 2 people, but a scientifically corroborated route map from the universe. Betty was not lying under hypnosis. She had seen the travel route of an alien civilization and accurately drawn it. VTHE's second wave of trauma and reassertion of control. The Zeta Reticuli discovery reignited the story. Betty and Barney were now seen not just as insane but as dangerous. Because the government, which claimed they were lying, was now proven to have lied. Covert surveillance: the surveillance over the Hill couple increased exponentially. Unidentified vehicles drove around their home at night. Barney was now living not only with his own paranoia but with a real threat. They now knew, the 2-hour gap after the incident did not mean the government had forgotten them. Government countermove: the U.S. Air Force and NICAP fiercely rejected Marjorie Fish's map. They argued the map was a coincidence or a hoax. Project Blue Book removed the Hill case from the unexplained list and placed it on the psychological cases list. The aim was to zero out the credibility of the truth. The cost: Barney Hill could not withstand all this pressure. In 1969, exhausted from fighting all the stress and anxiety, he died tragically and prematurely. According to many UFO researchers, the cause of Barney's death was not just stomach ulcers but also the psychological pressure exerted by the government and society. Despite the loss of her husband, Betty Hill continued her fight. She was no longer just a witness, she was the guardian of the truth. That 2-hour nightmare had ruined their lives, but it had also presented one of the strongest pieces of evidence proving the existence of extraterrestrial beings. Conclusion: the reality and the inescapable border. The story of Betty and Barney Hill is the template for modern abduction cases. It is proof of how hypnosis can reveal repressed memories after trauma. And most importantly, Zeta Reticuli. This star map showed that a civilization had traveled thousands of light years to reach us. However, the Hills' nightmare did not end there. The examination details they described served a much larger and more terrifying purpose. Why were the aliens so focused on human genetics? In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into the examination details recounted under hypnosis by the Hill couple. Were the entities inside the ship trying to save their own species? And what secret did that mysterious book Betty saw in her dream hold?